Hello and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai, my first video of 2025. I think it was back in September. I got an email from a longtime viewer, Mary in Minnesota, from the Minnesota Bonsai Society, that Aldi had some olive trees. So I ran over to Aldi, and sure enough they did. This was one of them. And I thought I would treat it nicely. First things first, I took it out of the pot just to look at the root structure, or to look at the base and see if there was any base below the pot. So I got about an inch more. I dug down and I raised it in the pot. I put it in this larger pot and I filled it with bonsai soil all around. I put these screens on top to keep the squirrels off of it. And it stayed outside for the rest of the growing season, which was September, October, beginning of November. And then I brought it into the greenhouse. So I thought I'd treat it nicely. And look at it. This branch is brand new since I brought it into the greenhouse, and you can see it's about 1.5 feet long. All of this green growth is new. This is new. This is new. And what I want to do today is take advantage of this vigor that it has and give it its first styling. And I've been staring at this tree for weeks now, trying to figure out how that styling might look. And here's another thing I want to show you. This was an old branch with nothing on it, and all that developed were flowers. So I may get some olives. My wife loves olives. I don't, but I think I'll leave this branch on just because it has flowers, and maybe it'll help thicken up the trunk a little bit. So let me get started. Before I get started on my olive tree, I just want to show you something. I hope you can see this. These are my azalea cuttings, and one of them has started to flower. Pretty cool for January. I don't have any proper wedges, so I just put some boards on here to help make this tree more upright. I see it as an upright tree. I love upright trees. This one has the ability to have some width if it's upright, but it also has some issues. This branch coming off of here is a good size relative to the trunk, which is important to me. As you get into the leaf details of an olive, and I'm just learning about olives, I had the opportunity to look at some mature olives recently and kind of study their growth patterns. And the branches do go zigzag, and I imagine that's because these leaves grow in alternating side to side, up and down, side to side, up and down. And at the base of each leaf, there's a nice either developing bud or branch. In that case, it was a branch. Bud on the other side, don't know what that'll become. And as you go down, it seems like directional pruning would be very easy on a tree like this. I'm not so sure about hard pruning though. That's something I'd love for my viewers to chime in on. So with the tree tilted like this, it's pretty upright at all angles. And this looks like a good front. So we've looked at the leaves, we've looked at the budding at the base of these leaves, we haven't looked at the distance between the internodes, and as you can see on a branch like this, they're pretty close in. But as you get further up along the branch, the internodes increase to about 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches, and down here they're under 1 inch. and here they're about 1/4 of an inch. Here on this older wood, which is older up to here, and then this new branch grew off of it since I put it in the greenhouse, and the older leaves are significantly darker, and they have this like powdery stuff on it. It doesn't appear to be mildew, it's dry and it wipes off. I'm not sure what it is, but it does appear pretty much all over the old leaves and not at all on the new ones. So let's take advantage of this growth spurt and figure out what we're going to do here. You may not be able to see the whole tree, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing, and I'll try and explain why I'm doing it. I explained before that I like the size of this branch in relation to the trunk, and it would be a great first branch, but look what I'd have to give up. This one is far more mature than this one. It's beginning to swell here. You can see it from this view too. It's swelling on that side. It does have a collar that I could prune to. It does have a collar. It doesn't continue all the way around, but I could find a good place to prune that away and it would heal over nicely. Or should I be that bold? Look what is on this branch. I'm definitely going to take cuttings. This branch right here is in a very bad location no matter what I do. Taking it off. And I'm debating whether I prune it here and develop this as a leader, and hopefully I get some taper between here and here, but I don't know, this is growing with quite a bit of vigor, and what I would have to do, and this is a pretty weak branch that did not choose to take off when everything else did. However, I have a branch here, and I've described this before as chicken. So I'm going to play chicken with this branch. And cut it right here. Let that die back. And get some cuttings out of this. Now I've changed this tree already, but I need to change it for the good and for the future. This was a cheap tree from Aldi, and I want to turn it into a nice bonsai. This is something any of you out there that have an interest in this might want to try. And that's why I'm trying it. So get yourself one and start practicing on it and observe trees in nature. All right, I think I want to zap the vigor out of this branch entirely and let it take off and do something else. So I'm going to take this piece off. I'm going to take this piece off and this piece off and start looking at it again. I have two leaves going horizontal. There are vertical leaves behind it, horizontal, and this came off of a vertical leaf. It was one of these buds off of a vertical leaf. All right, that came off. I'll clean that up. And that came off. I'll look at it after the final composition and figure it out then. I said I'm leaving this only because it's flowering, not because it's in a good spot or that I like it. There was a branch opposite it that died off. You can see all of the branch placement has everything to do with the leaf placement. So I talked about liking this branch. I like it for its size in relation to the trunk. It has bifurcated. It has very, very short internodes until it gets higher up. So I want to take advantage of this bifurcation And I'm going to have to forego this future bifurcation, this one that has already bifurcated and is trifurcating, if that's a word. All right, really close internodes here. I see that this tree does like to die back, so I'm going to cut it halfway between internodes. And these are facing outwards. So if I want branches growing there, I then want branches growing, I probably want a branch growing down and out. That's getting up there. I think I want to take this one back to here. Got very, very short internodes here. And I've got a good direction for another branch. Yeah, I'll have one growing on top of that one. I'm going to probably not allow that one to grow in favor of one that comes out here. So I'm cutting this here and leaving a lot for dieback. Let's look at the tree. It's balanced in this view with this branch, which is also bigger than I want for the size of the trunk. But what would I get if I cut this off and let this grow? I would get the taper eventually, but this one kind of grows straight up. Doesn't flow. This flows, this flows. Even this flows, but I just am not sure. I do have leaf scars. I have horizontal leaf scars, vertical leaf scars, horizontal leaf scars, vertical leaf scars, horizontal leaf scars. I'm doing this for the future of this tree. Tell yourself that, and it could help. But no matter what, these are not easy decisions. Study your tree, look for the leaf scars. I really want this to be a tutorial, but I'm not professing to be an expert. This junction of two doesn't bother me all that much because of the direction this one takes. But this has got to go. And now it's gone. So anyone who picked up an olive from Aldi, either on your own or after you heard me talking about it, what's yours doing? I mean, this growth spurt is due to the fact that I have a greenhouse and chose to put it in the greenhouse. The vertical growth, which you can see when I drop this back down, it's more like that off of each branch, and that is what it does in nature. Having it grow like this right now, these would begin to grow vertical, and anything new that comes out would grow vertical. Here I have a junction with 3 and I'm going to leave this for now, and when I study the tree, I'll decide what I'm going to do with it. This one can't be this long. It just can't. So where's a good place to cut? These are vertical, these are horizontal. These are horizontal. I think since I'm doing this, a hard prune is in order. Tree's got a lot of vigor. I can even see roots, new roots growing on these sides. I'm sure the root development is excellent since it's been in here. So This one should have been shorter, but I do like the distance of the inner nodes here, and I just want to see what develops. So do I keep any of this on top? That's my natural leader. This could be a very nice upright tree. It's a pity to lose this bifurcation here. I do have a branch that has begun to develop there, but has put on no new growth. If I take this back to here, this is still my apex, but then this becomes out of scale. Not by much. I would want to take this one back to here where there's absolutely no visible buds, and this one perhaps to here, down to 2 horizontal buds. Tough decision. I'm going to do it. Because I want to teach something that I don't have, which is, I guess, fearlessness. All right, going back to where I think the front should be. That's actually not bad. We got to see what develops here, but since there are no visible buds there, well, kind of, very nascent buds. If I cut it here and continue to baby it throughout the rest of the winter, I think I could have some luck if I cut this back. I've got side to side, front to back. I've got a vertical tree in the making, an upright tree in the making. So where does this want to be cut? Oh, gosh, that kind of hurt. All right, let me give it a spin. This will be a tree that we look at, hopefully an update very soon. I'll get some of my sealer on those cuts. My sealer is rubber cement. It's a brand called Slime. I did a test on a piece of plastic to see what a thick layer does and what a thin layer does. And I'm pretty sure I don't want to use a thin layer anymore because it basically disappears. It is so thin, it disappears. You can feel a little, but I'm not sure it's sealing 100%. So there's my olive from Aldi. I'll update you on this one hopefully soon. And that's it for today. Thanks for keeping me company in my backyard.